recording. So every content area begins in the same fashion, right? They start with the standards, and whenever there is a change to the standards, which is by law what we are required to know and what we are required to be able to do with our students in the classroom, when those change, that's when the exam changes. So for instance, they just made some changes to PE, and now there's a new PE test. And so whenever we get the changes to this document, changes happen to the exam. We get a new exam, they change the number of it. And so it's important that you have a very solid, strong knowledge of your standards. This is like the Bible for your content area. And when I first became, because my first content exam that I passed was this particular exam, but in 2003. So
are you teaching?
I just teach teachers now. I have been an English language arts and reading teacher since 2004. I started teaching, and but now I teach teachers. And so and all subject areas, not just English, but I teach, PE and so what I need for you to do with this document, or one of the tasks that I want for you to do between now and the next time that we get together, is that you print this and you do a close reading of it. And that means that you're dialoguing with this text. And this is actually an English language arts strategy, right? It annotating the text. We write on our documents. We're doing poetry. I'm going to give you guys a copy of the poem, and we're going to write on it, and we're going to highlight words that stand out to us, diction words. And so you too are going to do this. And so I'm going to have you engaged in English language arts and reading strategies that you would use with your students. And the reason you use them with your students is because they work to help for comprehension, to help for recall, and sort of like automicity, like to where you automatically know, like, oh yes, I get this.
Okay,
so,
just one thing.
Yes.
I'm doing right now the STR.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm on the next exam is going to be that one, the language arts and reading. But right now I'm focusing on the STR. That's what Miss Jane or Jean?
Miss Jeannie Garza?
Yeah, she said that. She suggests that.
Okay, so I just didn't know. This is the second time that's happened to me today, because several people are taking multiple exams, and I guess my brain just chooses the one it prefers. No, it's STR and ELAR 4 through 8. They're both I mean, they overlap so much. Actually,
they're similar, right?
Well, absolutely. Science of teaching reading is in effect, and this and the reason I know like how this is not it. Why is this not it? For the standard?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is it.
So I'm struggling, as I said, with the CQR, right?
Right.
Okay. In the part that I know what the student is struggling with, but when I come to write what's the solution for it, that's where I have difficulty.
Right, and that's a super easy fix. I'm glad that that's the difficulty, because it's easier than teaching you all of, trying to find out your editing skills or your ability to, instruct or remediate students' writing. So what you can do to prepare yourself and have it already automatically done is think of the most common mistakes or issues, needs that we see in the classroom. And so with the students writing, right, or not with the writing, with this particular, because with science of teaching reading, I think it's like foundations of, look, the two different things that you have to identify, but come up with activities already for that difficulty. We'll go to it, because I'm trying to, is this the written? Oh, here it is. And you have access to this, right?
I'm not sure. Where is that? You sent me a link. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, got it.
So, yes. The key to getting full marks is to provide exactly what they ask for, right? And so here, the first part of it is, let me get my highlighter up. So the first portion is this foundational reading skills. And so STR, think of English language arts as in reading as like an umbrella, right?
Mhm.
English language arts and reading. Science of teaching reading is the foundational stuff that we do in the beginning, right?
Mhm.
Teaching you letter sound correspondence, A, B, B, so that they can decode later in a way that is, and then we also give them other decoding skills, like context clues, root words, such and such. But foundational reading skills, we know now, science tells us, phonemic awareness skills, super important for the students to have as a foundational reading skill. If they lack phonemic awareness skills, I just got off right now, right before you, I was working with a special education teacher. She's a special education teacher right now for ninth graders, and it's her first year. And she said she didn't realize how much she took for granted, that needs to be broken down, how far back she needs to go with her group of intellectually disabled students, and that they lack phonemic awareness skills at the ninth grade level. And we see that so often in students with intellectual disabilities that have disabilities with reading comprehension. Many of them lack phonemic awareness skills. So all you have to do, and we'll take a look at it really quickly, is come up with already something for phonemic awareness, an activity ready. And you can find them so easily on Pinterest. Every teacher that there ever was, especially elementary teacher, is on Pinterest and collects boards, creates boards, showcases their hard work, that they do in their classroom on Pinterest. And it is literally a treasure chest for educators for activities. I'm going to show you. So we're just going to do phonemic awareness activities, and it comes up right away. So
Okay.
all sorts of people come up with their own activities that are new. They do like ones that are, and you're going to want to look, and this is what I'm gonna like the way to get like better at it. You're going to want to look, not just any, I'm going to hand out a worksheet where they have to like find the letter with the picture. Like if it's a C and then there's a cat, they have to like see this one goes with this one. That's boring. That doesn't have tactile. That's not, you want to choose an activity that's going to have the students moving, that's going to have them speaking, that's going to have them like pronouncing things. And so what I would like for you to do, so look, there's even one for poppets, like phonemic awareness using poppets. Get out of town. Very, very cool. So come up with, for the main issues under developing reading skills, phonemic awareness, phonetics. Let's look at what the other ones were. Morphemic analysis skills. And there's so many activities. Let's do morphemic analysis skills. And that's just wordplay. I love wordplay, but like I said, I am an English teacher. So science of teaching reading was created because literally everyone, myself included, have been screaming like our kids can't read when they get to us. Like something is happening and it's like, we're doing it a little bit wrong. And they discovered that they were doing it in fact wrong, and they weren't spending enough time making solid foundation in those building blocks of language, which is sound and words, like building words and decoding and whatnot. And then obviously syntax builds into that. But so that lack of foundation and emphasis, and then the lack of emphasis, at the larger grade. So let's say my student before you, she's teaching ninth graders. She was doing activities and worksheets that second graders do for phonemic skills with her ninth graders. They just need it, but her kids are intellectually disabled, right? And so it's important. It was an important I say discovery when they created science of teaching reading, and it didn't get created in Texas. It's work of like scientists and neurologists and, you know, English teachers, decades of work. But anyway, she is now able to help her students gain real progress, because now she knows, oh, it's not that big of a deal and not embarrassing that I have to go back and teach these basic skills to my ninth graders. Like, none of this, you will read on grade level, we're not going to go backwards. No, we must, because science tells us if we're missing these foundational building blocks in language and reading understanding, you're not going to be able to move forward. There's not going to be remediation without remediating the beginning portion, those foundational reading skills, phonetics, morphemic analysis. So morpheme, morphemic analysis act, and it even says for toddlers there. So many, look, oh, this is the one that I love, this one for kids. So cool. So you get those building blocks and you put the different words. This helps them break apart the words, and they can play around with it. Let me make up a nonsensical word, and I'll tell them, make up a nonsensical word and then define it for me, like, and give them the blocks, so they can play with play in the language and see that it is movable, and that these different morphemes, the parts of the word, carry meaning in themselves. And if they move them to mix them or combine them with other morphemes, it changes the meaning of the word, right? This play will allow them to build a better understanding for their own analysis as they're reading, right? Just because we added hand movements and colors and playing around, and something magical happens in the brain when we do stuff like this. So what I suggest you do is to, and I'm sorry I'm being quick, it's because I have another person at 11. Since I've been out, I literally am meeting with the largest amount of students today. So I have 9 individual sessions and 1 group session. So it's been kind of crazy. But it's
okay, no worries. That's fine. That's fine.
So I would go through this document that we were looking at that I sent to you. Make sure in those for each of those significant needs that you have something in mind for that one already, that you understand how it will work, and that hold on, but here it is in the strategy here. This is where the strategy comes in. So here's where you would look at. So you're going to look at syllabication skills. You can look up amazing. You can even have 5 of them. Don't remember 5 of them. Remember like 1 or 2 for each of those areas that you think, I would use this in my classroom. This would be really cool. Even if they're 9th graders, I guarantee you my special ed teacher is going to use that morphemic stuff. She's going to need to. That I'm going to show it to her next time I meet with her, that specific one, because we were looking at Pinterest and I didn't see that one. And and that was one of the ones that I wanted to hands-on, tactile, manipulative morphemic analysis tools that you have to make yourself, but it's very easy. You can buy those very cheaply, like at the dollar store, or sometimes the special ed department already has them ready that you can like just use. So I would go through and create like a T-chart, right? Do a T-chart, and on top of it, write foundational reading skills. Because you should remember, like, phonemic awareness, phonetic skills, recognition of high frequency words. So like the sight words, really important that the kids, that we have that automicity when we're reading, right? That we don't have to sound out the word the or and, right? That's just like we see it sight word. So all of these being foundational reading skills, put them on one side of your T-chart, which is a graphic organizer that we use to study with the students, that we use to organize information. It's a strategy we use in English language arts and also with science teaching and reading. So make yourself a T-chart and put each of those like high frequency needs. Phonemic awareness skills are lacking, phonetic skills are lacking, high frequency words are lacking, syllabication, fluency, and have on the other side your breakdown, not just the overview. And you don't want to be super like writing a novel. You want to be succinct. You want to use pedagogical language, right? So you want to like parrot back the type of language that we talk about it. And, you know, it's not just say we're going to play a word game. We're going to do a morphemic analysis game, you know, use the verbiage, and have already the connection, like, how does this activity support this particular weakness? How would that morphemic analysis with the building blocks support my students' inability to find root words or use root words, or, you know, decode a word based on its word parts? So have that rationale written out. You don't have to memorize it, but once you go through the motions of writing it once, something again solidifies in your brain, and you're able to, I think it's that, you know, the neurological pathway, the little wrinkle gets a little bit put there, and you're able to retrace it and regain it later. So that's what I would like for you to do to prepare for that. And you'll do the exact same thing for the next sort of subsection or section of science of teaching reading that we focus on, and which is reading comprehension. So you have foundational reading skills, and without foundational reading skills, without solid foundational reading skills, guess what significantly is impacted? Guess what area?
What area impacts foundational reading? Comprehension?
Yeah, exactly. So if the student is struggling in the foundational reading skills, or they don't have a solid competency, right? Competence in all of those foundational reading skills that we just went over, their reading comprehension, absolutely scientifically research-based, is going to suffer. It's going to suffer. The vocabulary knowledge will suffer. Knowledge of sentence and grammatical structures will suffer. Application of literal, inferential, and evaluative comprehension skills will suffer. So what am I looking at? So their ability to understand figurative, metaphoric, you know, differentiate or apply, analyze between literary and all reading and everything that is connected to reading will be impaired without help, without a strong foundational reading skill set. So so we know when, and it's an indication for us when our students have reading comprehension issues. That's the way that it started with my student that I just signed off with. She noticed they didn't comprehend anything. And then when she started assessing it, she's like, that not even their spelling, they spelled table TABU, like the way they were sort of saying it. And then she said, oh my goodness, they don't even know letter sound correspondence. So we can follow sort of like the pathway. If they're struggling in reading comprehension, there's going to be some underlying foundational reading skills at play. But so how to help them when they are struggling in this way? Again, go to Pinterest and you will find a plethora of hands-on fun activities that real world teachers actually use to circumvent these particular issues.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's how I would study for this exam. It doesn't have to be perfectly written, but you do have to give them everything that is bulleted here. So identifying that significant need in that under their foundational reading skill set and providing textual evidence. This is an example of how I identified this student's need. Without that piece of textual evidence, like from the students, well, and it's not just from their writing. For the purposes of this exam, it'll be like, it might even be like a discussion between them where the student is talking, you know, and it's like a skit, like teacher said this, student said this, teacher said this, and you have to say like, well, when the student said this, I knew that he didn't understand the figurative language that was used in the story or whatever, and you would use that as your evidence. So the weakness, the evidence, the instructional strategy or activity that you will utilize in order to support the student's need in that particular area. Same
Mhm.
thing for that last section.
Mhm.
And then at the end, you have to spell it out for them. So just put a little in conclusion, by utilizing the building blocks morphemic analysis activity, students can play with the different morphemes, prefixes, suffixes, affixes, and learn to build words and decode words using the blocks and group work, right? Students will respond to questions or whatever it is that you say, but connecting the dots for them, and showing how, like, don't leave it up to chance. This activity instructional strategy will directly support this student weakness in this way. It allows students to see visually and move around word parts so that when they look at fixed words in their brain, they're going to say, oh, I've seen this word part in another one. And in their brain, they will be moving it around, So sort of coming up with those rationales beforehand. And this will give you the biggest preparation for this portion of the exam.
Okay. Okay. I think Pinterest is a good idea to focus on and learn some from there and like memorize some stuff from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Activities.
such an amazing for educators, just an amazing, I mean, I guess for anyone. I look at Halloween costume. I mean, there's so many things there, and
Yeah.
it has everything. It has hands-on activities for calculus. I mean,
Mhm.
any content area, and everybody's always like, this is genius. I'm like, I did not make this up, but I mean, all these people hard work and putting it on there. It's very, very cool. So I definitely would do a deep dive. Look in there for the one you like the most. Like, I would use this, and I think this is going to be most supportive for this particular weakness, and go through and write out, like, if they're automaticity is, if you have issues with automaticity, you probably also have issues with high frequency words, right? You have like a lack, and that's what doesn't allow you to be so automatic in your and
Mhm.
fluent in your reading. So there are things to do for that. I'm sorry, you were gonna say?
Yeah, one thing about the exam, I'm a little bit worried because I got 7.8. I think it's an 8 because I didn't write some questions. Then I reread them, I review them, and I said, oh, I didn't read it correct because I was
Exactly, yeah.
tired or in a hurry or
Yeah,
whatever.
absolutely.
But I know the answer, but I didn't did it right. So I think I have like an 8
Okay.
or 80%. I'm a little bit worried about. What do you think about it? Is that a good score or it's the low score or
And
I'm a
this
little
is
bit
for,
worried.
to be honest with you, I've never used 240 tutoring myself,
Mhm.
because I always teach using like the standards, what this 240 tutoring is made by somebody else. They took the
Mhm.
standards and the TEKS, and they looked at them and said, let me put this together. So I don't really know what their scoring is like. What's the highest you can get?
100.
An 8? You got an 8?
Yeah, and, I got 80.
Oh, an 80. Oh my
Yeah.
God. No, that's perfect. That's fine. That
Mhm.
I think that would be fine. So I will tell them to open it up for you, but I need you to do this. Do the T chart, find your best activities and instructional strategies that you would use for this. There's a lot of fun ones for grammar structures where you move pieces, like tipo the building blocks one, also where you have words on the blocks and they can play with them and play with the the comma, and play with the semicolon, so that they're making actual, like, putting together actual real sentences and
Mhm.
moving them around in that way. So work on this, and I will let the office know. Is the exam open for you already?
If I can register to
Yeah.
do it, yeah, I register for September 15th.
Oh, excellent. So I think
Yeah.
you're going to be ready. I think continue watching the videos. If you haven't already finished them, that's really important, because we go over a lot. Like, I mentioned things that are best practice
Yeah,
and
the
just
videos on the YouTube.
right.
Okay.
And then there's also some that are ELAR 4 through 8, which are useful for you to look at as well.
Yeah, and about that, comparing those two exams, what's the difference between them, or which one's harder, or which is complicated, or what's the difference between that? Because I'm gonna do that also.
Right there. Well, this is just a little bit less. Like the other one is going to have this, and then it's also going to have more.
The ELAR.
Right.
So it's a little bit more complicated.
Yes, it is a little bit more. It's just a little, it just
Okay.
has more. It's not more complicated. It's the same.
Uh-huh.
It's the same, but it's more in depth, and there's more, this is more emphasis on the beginning portion of it, those foundational skills and reading comprehension. The other one has more to do with like pragmatics and application, syntax, media analysis, like their ability to analyze whether something is factual, right? Or to analyze visuals, like a picture for meaning and for effect.
Mhm.
A message is concerned. So there's just more to it.
Okay. Hopefully I can do it right on the first time.
Yes, you will. And especially if you watch the videos.
Okay. Your videos.
Yes.
Yeah, right? Okay. Okay, I will.
Okay. And make sure when you watch them that you like just comment like one cool new thing that you learn, like, oh, I didn't know this. This was one cool thing. The reason that I have you do that is not because I make money off of YouTube. I don't, but I think it's useful for people who like my other students that are studying, if they can go through and see comments like, oh, this cool thing and this cool thing, and like just a quick overview of nuggets of knowledge different students got out of watching. And it also allows me to know that you did invest the time in preparation, because whenever heaven forbid you don't do well, if you don't do well, they ask me like, did he do, invest in, because sometimes they won't open the exam for the student if they score too low, or if the student didn't put in the effort, doing their part, their parte, and like some, just as an example, a student who had access to 240 tutoring before his exam and had access to me and did not take advantage of either of those things and failed with a very, 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 very low score. And now he is ineligible to take that exam again because it's so below the policy that he has to change the exam. So
Mhm.
you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing. And if, heaven forbid, you are not successful, which I think you will be just from speaking to you and from what you've said that you're getting on your other assessments, but
Mhm.
if let's say you're sick, something happens, you have a brain freeze, I will be able to say he did his work, like this guy can do it, let him take his exam again, and I will do it. So make sure you invest in like preparing for by watching those videos, because I do speak with people who have already taken it. We talk about like scenario test questions, and so you get a little bit of a insider information sometimes.
Okay. Okay. I got it.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm trying to see who I have right now. Supposed to be logging on. Okay, well, I'm just waiting for Annalisa Gallego. So you have a beautiful rest of your day, and
You too.
let me know how your studying goes. Like if you want to be a super student, you can send me a screenshot of your T-chart. I would love to see it.
Okay.
Your study thing, because it is something that you would use with your student, right? Your students in the classroom, and it is something
The
that would,
T-chart with the activities of the CQR.
yeah, absolutely, with those different things. Yeah, it's a study tool. We use it with students as a studying tool and an analysis tool, right? So T-chart here, and so you would do two different ones, and one of them would have this as its title.
Additional.
Yeah, foundational, and so you would put the different weaknesses here. So this one is phonemic awareness, and then the activity here. And and you don't have to put it right after another. You can do it like a little space down here, and then you do the rest of it here, and then another one space down here, and you do the rest of it here. It's
Mhm.
also called Cornell Notes. That's another way of describing this particular. Cornell Notes are a little bit different because, and the reason they're called Cornell Notes is because they're made for Cornell University. That's how all of their notes are taken.
Okay.
And it's just a T chart, but it's got like a smaller T. It's like this. And then so like just a word or a question is written over here, and then they take their notes and they put pictures here and stuff. They might even put like cutouts and then another thing. So that these are Cornell Notes. Either
Okay.
one of those would work for you, but I would love to take a look at it because it would just be really great to show other students that example, and it would be the best help really for studying purposes for you.
Okay. Okay. I'll do it. I'll do it.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Isau,
very
right?
much.
Isau?
Yeah. Isau, yeah.
It's been a pleasure. I am so excited that I learned your name today. I've never seen it before. It's beautiful, and I'm going to be saying it a whole bunch of times.
Okay.
So
Thank
much.
you very much. Have a
Yes.
good day.
Yes, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.